It's 2:14 in the morning. Your body is exhausted. Your mind is not. You are replaying a sentence you said 6 years ago to someone who has almost certainly forgotten it. You are rehearsing an argument that will never happen. You are solving a problem that does not exist yet and might never. You are not trying to think. You would give anything to stop. And here is the part nobody tells you. The harder you try to shut it off, the louder it gets. Somewhere along the way you were told this was a flaw, that you think too much, that you need to relax, let go, stop being so intense. But the people who say that have never looked at what your brain is actually doing. Around the year 2001, a neuroscientist named Marcus Raichle noticed something strange. When people stopped doing tasks and simply rested, one network in the brain didn't quiet down. It lit up. He called it the default mode network, the system that runs when you are doing nothing at all. This is the machinery of self-reflection, memory, imagination, planning who you want to become. It is also the machinery of the loop, the same wiring that lets you rehearse a better future, lets you rot in a worse past. So your overthinking is not a broken mind. It is a mind whose most powerful system was built without an off switch, which raises an uncomfortable question. If this isn't malfunction, if it's the brain working exactly as designed, then why does it feel like it's tearing you apart? You already know the shape of it. Someone leaves a conversation a little too quickly, and you spend the next hour auditing everything you said. A message goes unanswered, and you write 3 explanations for the silence, each one worse than the last. You don't just make a decision. You make it, then you unmake it. Then you put the version of you that made it on trial. And underneath all of it is a quieter belief you have probably never said out loud, that if you can just think about this hard enough, long enough, from enough angles, you will finally feel safe. So you keep going, one more lap, one more angle. But the safety never comes. Here is why. The loop was never actually looking for an answer. It was looking for control, and control over the past, over other people, over a future that hasn't arrived yet, is the one thing thinking can never buy you. This is the trap. The tool you are using to protect yourself is the same tool eating you alive, and the worse you feel, the harder you reach for it, because thinking is the only thing you have ever really trusted. But what if the tool was never the problem? What if you have just been aiming it at the wrong target this whole time? 2,500 years ago, a teacher in northern India described this exact mechanism with a precision modern psychology is still catching up to. He asked his students to imagine being struck by an arrow. It hurts, obviously. That pain is real, unavoidable, part of being alive. Then he asked them to imagine being struck by a second arrow, landing in the exact same wound as the first. That second arrow, he said, is the one you fire into yourself. The teaching survives in what Buddhists call the Sallatha Sutta, the discourse of the arrow. The first arrow is the event, the loss, the mistake, the awkward silence, the thing that actually happened. The second arrow is everything you pile on afterward, the replaying, the rehearsing, the story about what it all means about you. His claim was radical, and it still is. Most of what you call suffering is not the first arrow at all. It is the second one, fired again and again, by your own hand, long after the original moment is dead and gone. And notice what he did not say. He did not say stop feeling pain. He did not say empty your mind or force yourself to think positive. He knew the first arrow lands, whether you consent to it or not. What he pointed at was the gap, the small, almost invisible space between the thing that happened and the story you tell about it. That gap is where the second arrow gets loaded. Miss the gap, and you'll fire for the rest of your life, without ever noticing your own hand on the bow. Overthinking, stripped of all the drama, is just a person who was never shown that the gap exists. So here is the shift, and it is smaller than you think. You have been trying to win the argument in your head, to outthink the thoughts, to finally reason your way to peace. You can't. You are using the loop to try to escape the loop. The way out is not a better thought. It is a different relationship with thinking itself. Picture your mind as a browser with 100 tabs open, each one humming, each one demanding attention, each one convinced it is the important one. You have spent your entire life believing you have to close every tab before you are allowed to rest. You don't. You only have to notice that you are the one sitting at the screen. You are not the tabs. That is the gap. The instant you see a thought as a thought, Instead of an order you are required to obey, the second arrow slips out of your hand. Not because you fought it and won, because you finally stopped bending down to pick it up. I want to be honest about what this looks like in real life, because the serene, empty-minded version people try to sell you is a lie. It does not look like a silent mind. Mine is not silent. The 2 a.m. reruns still start on schedule. The only thing that changed is what happens next. There is a moment now, small and unglamorous, where I catch myself mid-loop and something quietly goes, "This is the second arrow." Not as a slogan, as a plain fact. Oh, I'm doing it again. And most of the time, that is enough. Not to stop the thought, to stop feeding it. You will not do this cleanly. You will catch the loop on lap 40 instead of lap 4, and that still counts. The skill was never about thinking less. It is about believing your thoughts less, letting a tab stay open without clicking into it. And here is the part the just relax crowd will never tell you. Some of the sharpest, most creative people who ever lived were relentless overthinkers. The same machinery that tortures you at night is the machinery that notices what everyone else misses, that feels things at full volume, that connects ideas nobody else thought to connect. You were never meant to cut it out. You were meant to learn who is holding it. That is the whole thing, not a quieter mind, a mind you are no longer afraid to be alone with. So tonight, when it starts, and it will, try one thing. Don't fight the first arrow. Let it land. Something happened. It hurt, and that is allowed. Just watch for the second one, that small flinch where your hand reaches for the bow again. And in the half second before you fire, ask the only question that has ever actually broken the loop. Is this thought trying to protect me, or is it just trying to be answered? You don't have to answer it. You only have to see it. Seneca said it plainly. 2,000 years ago, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The imagination was never your enemy. You just forgot you were the one holding the pen.